Good morning, everyone. My name's Ivan. Welcome back to Seasonal Adventures. I'm still here at the Novotel on Collins Street in Melbourne. Yes, just got up. Yeah, I'm just gonna check out. Still a bit of time though. It's about 20 minutes to 7. I do have a shift today that I'm working, so I do need to go back to my car that's parked at Wilson Parking in Federation Square. I'm going to leave my suitcase there. My uniforms, I left that in the car. So yeah. Anyway, just going to make a cup of Earl Grey tea, and then I'll give you a review of what I thought about staying here. Earl Grey hot. Riveting stuff, isn't it? Does anyone else do this? I like to strain my tea bag, get all the liquid out of it. Okay. Overall, it's okay. I agree with some reviews that the hotel is aged. Although the decor inside seems to be holding up. I don't know how many renovations they've done to the room, but it doesn't look shabby. It's, the surfaces and the paint and the colours, the fabrics, they all seem to be in good condition. Unlike when I stayed at the Langham, the curtains, at the ends of it where you have the handles to pull the curtains across, looked really frayed, especially the ones where you given access to the terrace, to the balcony. They look really. Sorry, let's have some the tea just for a moment. Sorry about that. Just dry throat. I don't normally have the heater on all night in my apartment, but here, I suppose you could turn it off, couldn't you? I didn't think of doing that. Or turn off the fan. I don't know. Anyway, it's very toasty. So curtains are frayed on the edges at the Langham. That's a 5-star hotel. This one would be, I guess, would it be at least 3 or 4? Anyway, that little hiccup at the start when I checked in, and the original room I was given wasn't clean yet. Housekeeping hadn't got to it, or there was a miscommunication at when I checked in, and the staff didn't realise the room actually had not been cleaned yet. So yeah, it's a bit embarrassing for them. That is, yeah. But I've got this. I got upgraded, and I could put a link to that in the comments. I'm in a suite now. I'm in a lower floor. The original one was in floor 14, which is the highest floor as far as I can tell from the elevator buttons, and this is floor 12, but it's a larger room. So yeah. I like the simple controls of the shower. It doesn't have a bathtub, which I don't mind. I'm a shower person. So I'm not talking to a microphone. Oh, hello. So it's a simple, one handle to the left is hot, to the right is cold. You lift it up, more water pressure, toasty hot. It's great. Whereas, when I stay in hotels with a bathtub, it just, I find it a bit tricky just getting the water flow, not having the water flow out of the tap over the bathtub, but having the water come out of the shower head. It's just a little bit of a bit of a dance. I don't believe there's any windows out onto the street or to the city skyline. When you look at the hotel from the street, it's butted up right against its neighbours, left and right, and there's no windows along there. just like my apartment, or those that live in an apartment where you don't have a corner apartment. So yeah, left and right of the walls, your neighbours, and there's no windows, and it's pretty much the block, this block where Novotel is. It's like that. So yeah, and also I think behind the hotel, so on either side and also behind, it's also butted up against the tenant or the next building behind us. So there's no city views at all or street views in this hotel as far as I can tell. The only views onto the city would be on floor 3 where the reception is. That's where they have a restaurant and bar, or somewhere you can eat and drink. And there's windows that face onto the street, but that's all. So I notice a few tables set up there where people can look onto the street, but that's it. We can look into the atrium as I showed in my room tour, and that's really the only source of natural light. So yeah, I noticed some comments say there's lack of natural light, but that doesn't bother me now that I live in an apartment. I'm used to that. So yes, I do have a balcony and a view out to the balcony glass window. Yeah, and onto the street, onto Tram Road and Newcastle Roads, but doesn't bother me. I've only been here one night anyway, so it's okay. The welcome letter, or the letter that shows you all the different amenities of the hotel, and how to get on Wi-Fi, etc., parking costs, or not really costs, where to park and so forth. If you had a car, I wouldn't recommend you have a car here in the city of Melbourne, especially if you're a tourist. You mentioned about apologising about the lift notice. We are very sorry to advise that we're currently experiencing lift service issues in the hotel. Our team are currently working alongside our lift operator to rectify this. However, due to current industrial action from our lift service provider, we are facing major delays in the servicing and repairing of these faults. Our concierge team is on hand to assist through this time, and our reception team are available should you have any concerns. So yeah, I think maybe this is a little bit outdated. I read some reviews or signage around the hotel that 1 of 3 lifts aren't working, and that's not true. The 3 lifts that take you up to the floors, the guest rooms, are all working fine. They are a bit rickety, and one has a really weird sound effect. If I can time it correctly, I might record it in a separate video. When I need to go down from this floor, it consistently, of the 3 lifts, it seems to be the one on the far right that opens, and it has a chime, and the chime just goes like, it just sounds really creepy and faulty. And the lift doors are a little bit shaky, but it's very fast. It's a fast lift. Before long, you're on level 3. And that's another criticism people, and once you get to level 3, you need to exit out and get into another lift if you choose to take a lift, or you can take the stairs to go down to street level. So it's just the way the building's designed. You think, why don't they have check-in and reception on ground floor? There's not enough floor space. You'll know when you come here, when you enter the ground floor from the street level, they've set up a little, kind of like a little pop-up desk, it feels like, where someone can greet you, and someone's not always there. I don't think you can check in there. Maybe just to be directed where the reception is, or maybe that's where the porter stands if there's anyone with accessibility issues and they're waiting for a accessible taxi or something like that. But it's very narrow. It's just it's the design of the building. So the first 3 floors are just like really, really tight, and floor 2 and 3, it's just accessible by the stairs. I don't think you can get out from. I haven't tried pressing level 1 or 2 in the lift. That's an assumption, but when you get on street level, yeah, it's very narrow, and it just leads you to the elevators. So from the street level, you need to go to level 3, and then once you check in, you need to go to a separate set of elevators, 1, 2, or 3, up to these floors. So the lifts down to the street level from level 3 are only 2 lifts, and 1 is out of order. There's a barricade across it, bollards with strap across it. So yeah, that can be a bit of a congestion point, because if people have accessibility issues, that's the only way to get down to the street level or up to the reception level from the street, if you want to check in or check out. my suitcase is light, I might just take the stairs if I notice there's a little bit of a rush, because in the morning usually that's when people are checking out. They do have a key drop facility where you can just drop off your key cards of your room, and you don't need to speak to anyone at the desk. You just drop it and then go. I will consider that if need be, but I always prefer to speak to somebody. I don't know, I just prefer to do that. Yeah. When they swipe one of my credit cards just for the incidentals costs, I noticed there's no charge on my statement unless it hasn't appeared yet. When I sat at the Langham, it appeared as a pending charge of $100, and then that disappeared because I didn't take anything from the minibar. There was no damage to the room, etc. They should find the same here. I can only assume that if I did something, I took something from the minibar or the chocolates that's there or something, or I damaged the room, then my credit card would be charged. But I don't see any pending charges at all. Otherwise, I haven't used there's the coffee maker with the capsules. I haven't bothered to try that. I mean, although I like drinking coffee, and I'm just not in the mood this time round. Otherwise, yeah, it's comfortable. I don't know how it would feel to stay here longer than one night, but my booking didn't come with breakfast, so unlike the Langham, which I chose with Qantas points, also chose the most expensive room. If you were to pay by cash, which came with perks such as free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Pretty much, you could have free food and drink. At the facility there. So I didn't choose that. I didn't choose to have a breakfast added on to my room stay. Anything I can hear it now. You're not going to hear it. The phone's not going to pick it up. But I can hear just in the distance like jackhammering, and I heard that late last night as well. I don't think it's coming from inside this hotel. I know when I was checking out where the swimming pool was and the gym, I showed you what's at the base of the atrium, and it's all under renovation or reconstruction. I thought they were doing it from there, but you definitely hear that if they were working with jackhammers just in the atrium here, just a few meters away from me, you definitely hear that, and guests would complain, especially if they were doing that late at night or very early in the morning, say before 7 a.m. So this distant jackhammering, I can hear machinery sounds. It must be just buildings around the city. Construction is happening, now and then, probably often. So it doesn't bother me. I'm a heavy sleeper, so once I get to sleep, short of an alarm, touch wood, sounding, I'm not going to wake up. So yeah. Also, ironically, being moved to this room, I am 2 doors away from the elevators. The room I'm in is just around the corner from the lifts, and usually when you have that section in a booking, which you can type in, and if you have any requests, I usually request, could I please be far away from any stairwells or elevators, because I found when I started to, the first time I travelled overseas and I stayed at hotels, or even stayed at a hotel within Australia or Melbourne, and they assigned me a room, say, directly opposite the lifts or just right near the lifts, you could hear the elevators. Or if your room was at the back of the elevators shaft, so the lift shaft was there, and then your room's just, the wall is against the lift shaft, I could hear, naturally you could hear the elevators go up and down, the grinding noise and the sound of the elevators going up and down, and the doors opening and closing, and people going in and out. I said I'm a heavy sleeper, but I don't want to hear that when I'm awake. So that's the main reason. That's the only reason why I request a room, ideally not to be anywhere near the stairwells or the elevators. Some people aren't bothered by that. I noticed the design on this floor. There is one room that is pretty much diagonally opposite or directly opposite the lifts. You might like that for ease of access for the elevators, but footfalls of people walking past, you can hear their conversations, the lift doors opening and closing and chiming, and that weird sound chime when the doors open of the lift. No, that would drive me bonkers, even if it was just one night. So, and yes, you'd mostly be sightseeing. If you were a tourist, you wouldn't be in your hotel room all day, but you'd be coming back at some point, and then you'd hear that yeah, and that's not to my taste. Otherwise, the TV is definitely, it looks old. It's a Philips brand, but it's not like the most latest model. You could just tell by the look of it, and also it's kind of slow in operation when you press the buttons on the remote. Not many channels to choose from. There's a few Fox channels, but they had sport, which I'm not into sport. If you've watched my channel a long time, I'm definitely not a sports fan. Any sport, Olympic or anything, I'm just not into that. So watching footy on the Fox channel is, yeah, I just skipped over that. I mean, again, not that you're here really to watch much television, but it's not a smart TV as far as I can tell. There's no internet from the television. I can't get YouTube or on the TV, and there's no other streaming. There's no Netflix available, complimentary or anything like that. So yeah, that's fine. I do appreciate the fridge, which doesn't really have much in. I think it just had a long life milk, a small container of long life milk, which I didn't use. I put if I bought something for my lunch today, which I'm gonna heat up at work, and I left it in the fridge overnight. Actually went back to Coles for a second time and just bought a few extra things. Yeah, that's really it. So how are we going for time? If I talk for half an hour, it's coming on to 7 o'clock. So yeah. I don't know. I suppose I could check out around 8 o'clock at the latest. I mean, it's not very far to walk back to Fed Square. I do need to go back to the car, collect my uniform, and then head into work, have breakfast, change, or everything. I think it's going to be pretty busy, obviously, in the city because people work and live in the city. And at this time, it's rush hour, as our American cousins would call it. Rush hour, as in even not just with the cars, but people moving all around in every direction. So I don't know how I'm going to find the checkout process, but like I said, there is that drop box that I can just drop these in. I'll put this into, I'll make it all neat, and just drop it into the little box, and I can go and I can take the stairs if need be. So yeah, overall I would recommend Novotel. It is definitely in a prime location, or anywhere that you're inside the city grid of Melbourne. Definitely Collins Street is a main artery of Melbourne for sure. And yeah, it's nearby Swanston Street, has trams. Collins Street has trams, and the other intersection in the opposite direction is Elizabeth Street, and that has trams as well. And you're walking distance to Flinders Street Station. You can take a train. It's a major train hub. Trams soon, once we're waiting with bated breath for the new metro station tunnels, metro tunnel stations to open. The nearest one to here would be Town Hall. They're just not ready yet. They haven't been open to the public as yet. They're supposed to open sometime in 2025 or by the end of 2025. That's anyone's guess. So there'll be additional access to the train network. Otherwise, it's Flinders Street Station for the time being as the nearest station. Plenty of trams. There are buses as well. I think that trundle through the city. I know the buses go along Lonsdale Street. So yeah, don't drive in the city unless that's how you prefer to get around when you come to a new place. As a local, yes, I drive to work, but I don't necessarily drive around the city, after I leave work and go like, oh, let's check out a restaurant and struggle for parking, when I'm going away from Fed Square. No. So yeah, makes a nice change that I'm pretty much, just I walk away from work and I don't need to drive into work. I'm already here in town. Just continuing my cup of Earl Grey. And I'll catch you in the next video. Gosh, I've nearly talked for 20 minutes. Let's end this video. Until next time, I will fill you in on what's happening next from today, or really from later tonight, and then Saturday, Sunday. If I find something that I observe or catch my eye between now and when I start my shift, I will film again. Otherwise, I'll film again after I finish my shift later today. Alright, thanks for watching if you watched this till the end. And yeah, until next time, have a good morning, everyone. Those in the Southern Hemisphere. Or afternoon or evening elsewhere around the world.